name is Muñecas. Thank you for watching. For today's video, I wanted to create an updated version of how I cover my under eyes. A lot of you have requested for me to do an updated version. I have two videos with my routine of how I conceal, cover, correct my under eyes. One of them was using drugstore products only. The other one I was using, I believe, a mix of high-end and low-end. But nevertheless, that was a few years back, I believe like 2 years ago at least. And I have changed many of the products that I use in the past. Some of them work a lot better than those that I used before. So I wanted to do an updated routine. The technique is almost everything the same, maybe a thing here and there that I changed. But yeah, let's just get into it. Let's see how I correct my under eyes, how I get the best payoff out of my concealer, and how I make my concealer last all day, which is extremely important. So if you want to see exactly how I conceal my bad boys, then just keep on watching. Alright, so let's begin. As you can see, I have most of my eye makeup completed, and the reason why I did that is because I was playing with a little bit of darker colors and more like rich in tones. Whenever I'm using heavy colors on my eyes or glitter or pigment, anything like that, or even eyeshadows that I'm just not familiar with, I like to leave my foundation and my correcting for after the fact, because I want my under eye area to be as clean as possible, because we don't want it to be darker than it already is. So now that I finished that, I went ahead and cleaned my under eye with a makeup removing wipe to make sure that we have no additional darkness there, no additional pigment that we don't need. So that's definitely a plus. And then now that everything is nice and clean, I'm going to continue by priming. You can use whichever primer you prefer. They have silicone based primers, they have moisturizing primers based on your skin type. I'm going to be using this one from Maybelline because it's very hydrating and my skin is very dry. This one is a Maybelline The Master Prime by Face Studio. This one also helps me with the under eye wrinkles that I have. It just makes everything smoother and it helps out with the creasing as well. Before I begin correcting my under eyes, I want to begin just explaining to you guys why we want to use like an orange or peachy or salmon tone corrector. We all heard multiple times that those type of tones counteract the darkness underneath our eyes, and the main reason why is because most of us have like either purple undertone or greenish undertone or blue undertones, and the opposite of those colors, if you look at the color wheel, is going to be orange. It's going to be like on the reddish side. So that is why we typically use those type of colors to correct the under eye. What I wanted to educate you guys on really quickly is that not everyone is going to need the same tone of corrector. Like we've seen so many videos where girls were using red lipstick underneath their eyes. That became so popular and it was all over social media, girls putting red lipstick underneath their eyes no matter what skin color they were. So I wanted to touch on that really quick. If you're light skin, you don't need an orange corrector. The lighter you are, the lighter your corrector is going to be. If you're like super pale, you can get away with using something more on the pinky side that is going to contradict the darkness, but it's not going to overwhelm your under eyes. It's not going to actually emphasize it more. It's basically what I'm trying to say. And if you can see this one right here, I have this little palette here. I'm going to try to show you guys so you can have an idea. If you're very pale, you can get away with using something like this to correct your under eyes. I know the camera is not doing it any justice. In my viewfinder, it looks kind of like white, but it's not white. It's like a pinky white corrector. So it depends. That's if you're like super pale and you have the swatch right here so you can see what it looks like. It's gonna brighten your under eyes and it's gonna correct your dark circles. That's assuming that they're not really bad. If you're pale but your under eye area is super dark, you're gonna have to use something a little bit more on the peachy tone side, which will be this one right here. Something like that. Like it doesn't have to be this one exactly. By the way, this is a palette from Sephora and Phanton Universe. Nude type side is going to correct your darkness, and that is what that looks like right here. If you're more like me, more like on the warmer and medium skin tone, then you can get away with using this crayon that I'm going to be using today, and that is the swatch right here. They named this one Apricot, but it's like an orange, but like a pale orange. That will be perfect for anybody my skin tone and slightly darker as well. If you're dark skin with a deeper complexion, and then this one from ColourGirl is the orange corrector, will be amazing for you. That's that one right here. It's more like a reddish orange. Bottom line, what I'm trying to tell you is that we cannot all use the same corrector. We need to use a corrector that is closer to our skin tone. So the lighter you are, the lighter your corrector should be. The darker you are, the darker it should be. So we're gonna get that out the way. Let me clean my hand, and then I'm going to begin correcting. Like I said before, I'm going to be using this one from Maybelline. It's the Master Camo, and I'm just gonna twist it. Actually, it has a little bit of product there. Some people like to use the corrector after they apply the foundation. For me, I just think that is better to apply it underneath your foundation, because once you apply the foundation, everything is gonna look like one even canvas, and then you can apply your regular highlighting concealer or your regular concealer just to brighten up the area. But that is my preference. Some people like to apply the foundation first, then the corrector, then the concealer. I just personally think that it makes it more difficult for you to go in and cover the corrector using the concealer. Like, it's more work in my opinion. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna be grabbing this, and I'm going to be applying it directly on my under eye. I'm going to begin in here, which is where my darkness begins, and I'm just going to go like in a little half circle here. Like, I'm not gonna drag it down, just where we have the darkness. And I really like this applicator because it lets me get right into the inner corners, which for some people is like one of the darkest area. It's not really for me, but it's a little bit dark there as well. And I don't really need to use any other brush right now to blend this. Like, this is perfect. It blends everything. I can go over with my fingers if I want, but I don't really need to. Like, the applicator really helps me blend it. So there you can see the difference. This is the eye that's corrected so far, and this is the eye that is not corrected. So just so you guys can see the difference, I'm not gonna do this eye in front of the camera. I'm only gonna do this one, like the entire thing, and then I do it, of course, at the end. That way you can see the major difference between one eye and the other. So now I'm gonna come in with the foundation. This is my Estee Lauder Double Wear Nude Foundation, which has been my favorite lately. And I'm going to be applying that all over the face. To blend my foundation, I'm going to be using my Sigma F83 Curve Kabuki brush, which I am obsessed. And the most important thing is that we want to make sure, oops, I just got foundation all over my hair, that when we go in around the eye, like on the eye portion, that we tap it so that we don't remove any product. So like that, like just tapping so that we don't remove the corrector. Okay, so now that we have that foundation blended, I'm going to be using the concealer. This is my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, which I am using in the tone medium. I typically like to, like, it depends. If you want your under eye area to look very nice and bright, you want to go around 2 shades lighter than your skin tone. Now, on an everyday basis, I don't necessarily go too light. Like, I might just go 1 shade lighter than my skin tone, just so that it doesn't, like, the contrast is not that crazy for my everyday taste. But that is up to your taste. But some people go up as high as to like 4 shades lighter than their skin tone. I'm over that stage right now. I'm sticking to about 2 shades lighter than my skin tone, and the tone medium is perfect for that. So now I'm going to be applying this in a triangular shape, like upside down triangle, how you guys have seen it. This stuff is very, very opaque. It's very thick. So you don't need too much of it. Like, you don't really need to put all the lines like I used to do also in the past. But I do need to apply a little bit more than the normal person, just because my under eye area is very dark, so I want to make sure that it's covered. So anyhow, let me show you exactly how I do it. So I'm just going to do little dots so you guys can see where it would normally go, but in reality you don't need too much. like that. And I am gonna apply a little bit more just on the inner part of the eye because, you know, that will help out the darkness a lot. And so I'm gonna leave it as that. It's like a triangle. You can just apply it here and just drag it like that, but just to show you guys exactly where you want it to, so I can bring out and like highlight the under eye, it goes like that, like in a triangular shape. To blend that in, I'm gonna be using my Sigma 4 HD Kabuki brush, which I have been obsessed as well. I tried it a few weeks ago and I really like how it blends my under eye, and I haven't been reaching for my beauty blender. I do love my beauty blender, it's here actually, but I don't like to have to be like wetting it, and then sometimes that can kind of remove excess of the product. So I typically used to go in with my finger. So if you're gonna use a beauty blender, just go in with your finger, dab dab dab. So I'm gonna show you guys like that, even though with this brush it doesn't really remove excess, but I'm gonna do it like that so you guys can see it. So this way we're gonna get the most pigmentation, the most coverage out of your concealer, because if you use a beauty blender, it will remove a lot of the product. So I would typically do this and then go around the edges with a beauty blender, but I promise you that with that brush it really doesn't remove product. And then with a brush, so now we're gonna set that concealer in place. I'm gonna be using my Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder and using the same brush. Have to make sure that you set your under eyes. If you don't set it, all the work is gonna be for nothing. I'm gonna go around it with my fingers to make sure that I don't have any creases. And this is gonna make sure that the concealer stays there all day long. If you don't set it, you're working for nothing. Look how that looks so much brighter. Look at the difference. Do you see the difference? It's crazy, I know. Definitely make sure that you set. I'm gonna take an extra step and I'm gonna be using this setting powder as well. This is, actually it's not a setting powder, it's a brightening face powder from Too Faced and Kandee Jhonson. It's called Banana Pudding. I have been loving it because it really makes your under eye area look like filtered, and it really brightens it up even more. And again, I'm applying the powder in the same triangular shape that I did the concealer, just so that it lifts the eye. You can see the difference. You can see the difference. Alright, so that is it, my loves. That is how I correct and conceal my under eyes. I hope that you guys are able to see the difference on camera, because I can really tell the difference in person. So I hope the camera is doing it justice, but look at that darkness and look at this eye. It is truly amazing. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed already, and of course give me a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Mil besos, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Wow. Hi, Mommy.
Hi, mi amor.
You look pretty with your makeup.
Thank you.
You're welcome.